Good morning. My name is Cindy Morris. I'm the Vice President of Development and Community Engagement at ASA, and we are really excited to be welcoming you to this ASA Live. Today, we are going to be kicking off a four-part series that over the next few months, we're going to be coming back to you over and over again to educate you about fraud prevention as a partnership with Western Union, and we are really excited about this. So today, I am joined by Western Union's Fraud Awareness, Education, and Outreach Manager, Jessica Warren. Welcome, Jessica.
Thank you.
And we're gonna today we're gonna be talking about specifically fraud and taxes. I don't know about you. I think yesterday, for anybody who saw our ASA Live, I admitted to the fact that I am still working on my taxes. I promise they will be done in time, but this year taxes are different, right? They are not due until May 15th. We all kind of got this extra month. And so we wanted to bring this topic to light right now, because especially when there are shifts in the way we've always done taxes, that opens up the opportunity for fraud more than ever. So before we get started, because I really want to talk about overall this series and why we're doing it, Jessica, can you talk to us first about the work that you do and your role, and why Western Union is so committed to fraud awareness and prevention?
Well, believe it or not, I've been with Western Union, which is a global money transfer service, which just turned 170 years old this year. But I've been there for 17 years now.
On aging, we do appreciate 170 years old.
170 years. And it's kind of unfathomable. But although, fraud is kind of a sensitive subject, and I was a design major, but I really love managing this program for fraud awareness, education, and outreach. I'm really challenged with developing and delivering the relative, but also creative content to really address consumer fraud. So we try to take the proactive approach to educate those consumers on how they can protect themselves from fraud and scams within the social media realm, online, but also at the point of sale. We also respond to consumers who maybe have questions about fraud situations or need guidance after potentially falling victim to a scam. So I really do love my job, and it's good to help people and also be creative and get people really engaged with content and to avoid those pesky scammers and their little tactics.
Yeah, I think it's really an interesting moment, right, where we talk not just about what do we do when it's happened, but what do we do to prevent it from happening? And so when it comes to fraud prevention and how we think about it, that's something that we think about not just for older adults, but for everybody. This is something that every single person needs to think about, no matter their age. And so we don't want to say an older adult is at more risk for this, but we know that often they're targeted. So why is this? Why are we seeing that kind of happen towards older adults and towards our elders?
Well, you kind of touched on this, and which is fraud can happen to anyone. And at the end of the day, those scammers are getting really good at their tactics with trying to prey on the emotional aspect and really kind of hit those keywords or emotions that maybe you may fall victim to, that you're close to. Those triggers will automatically help them, if you will, perpetrate their fraud. So we don't want to give them that. Again, anybody could fall victim. And that's why, sometimes seniors are a little bit more vulnerable, if you will. I call them the trusting generation. They're the ones that still have a home phone, a landline, and answer the phone. Maybe they're a little lonely and they don't mind talking to people, or, maybe they don't have family around. It's many different reasons why seniors are kind of a target. But it's something that, while Western Union is really working hard to prevent fraud, we definitely believe that fraud prevention is actually everyone's responsibility. The more information that you have is the better you can shield yourself, your family, the seniors in your life, your parents, friends, that anybody that you may work with against these criminals. So pandemic, and also since the internet has connected us to way more information than ever, today's digital age has really made it easy for scammers to perpetrate their fraudulent activity. So from fake social media postings to password phishing for financial accounts, scammers have found those countless ways to get their hands on other people's money. They use many, ways or means to contact the victims. It could be telephone, cell phone, snail mail, believe it or not, email, and the internet in general. They really gain your trust, and when they have you hooked, they ask for money, and then they take it and run. So,
yeah, they, today we want to talk specifically about advance fees, and I don't even know what that. Can you talk to me about what that is? I don't even know what that is. So let's start there. What is an
sure,
advance fee?
absolutely. Everybody at one point in time, financially strapped people, they're looking for a way to make either quick cash or get cash quickly, which is common. But unfortunately, thieves are preying on those victims as well, if you will.
Mhm.
Advance fee scams have scammers posing as maybe representatives from phony companies. Maybe they're using authentic looking documents or emails, websites to try to appear legitimate. They are luring people into paying in anticipation of receiving something of greater value, and then receives little or nothing in return. So being skeptical of any offer where you have to pay money upfront, so advanced, especially when they say insurance, and I'm doing my quotes, processing or paperwork. Some of those examples could include like obtaining a loan, maybe a new credit card, scholarships, inheritance money, and various types of investment scams. And then we go into taxes. So again, as you see some of those examples, that includes a broader audience and not specific to seniors, but they're very relevant all the way around.
Right. Okay. So that does make sense to me. And so it sounds like it's super common. I know taxes are due now. Where I should be counting the days here. May 15th, they're due, right? It's just for the record, I'm working on them. I just want everybody to know I am working on them. This is a prime moment, right? Talk to us about what scammers are doing right now, taking advantage of this tax time to commit fraud. What should we be looking out for in the next, 3 to 8 weeks, I would say, in the tax time period?
Well, keep in mind, I am not a tax expert, and I'm not speaking for the IRS, if you will, but I can relate many of the scams that are fraud related with taxes. And I will not hold it against you that you don't have your taxes completed already this time, but I won't tell anybody. But,
Okay.
Since the IRS did extend the filing deadline, individuals now have, I think, until May 17th. So you've got 2 extra days, but don't abuse them, right?
My accountant told me the 15th. He probably knew that I would procrastinate.
I think it's a weekend technically. So yeah, keep that in mind. But regardless, scammers are seeing tax time as a huge chance to prey on your anxiety about completing your tax return, number one, on time or correctly, and even during a pandemic. So now there's new rules, there's new deadlines. So people maybe are a little confused, and they're hoping that you are, so that they can maybe wedge their ways in, if you will. So in most cases, a person is contacted by someone either claiming from a government agency like the IRS, or maybe they're impersonating a tax official saying that money is actually owed for taxes and it must be paid immediately to avoid arrest or deportation, maybe even a suspension of your driver's license or passport. But they're instructed to send a money transfer or even a prepaid or a preloaded debit card to pay these taxes. Some of those examples might include like the Social Security scam. where scammers are claiming to be able to cancel or suspend a social security number. They're taking away your birthday, kind of, right? They're trying to. I think a lot of people have been hearing about this or been a victim of, unfortunately, unbeknownstly, identity theft and unemployment benefits. So that's a big one right now. Scams related to natural disasters, fires, anything. And then just the impersonation, like IRS impersonation email scams, but they're also calling, they're doing anything they can. And then like ghost tax return preparers or just other tax professionals. So those are some common or new, if you will, spins on the advance fee for taxes.
Right.
So
yes, it seems there's always somebody out there willing to take advantage of a really hard situation to make it that much harder.
yes.
And that's sounds like what we're talking about here. Are there some specific red flags you want us to be looking for?
That's a great question. And it's often one that people forget to step back and recognize. They saw it, but maybe it didn't resonate with them as well, or it wasn't read enough, or, a lot of people think I'm too smart to fall for a scam, right? I'm, educated, or I know better, or I work in the field. But again, if that scammer hits that trigger, and anybody could fall into that situation. So, specific to taxes, there could be calls demanding like immediate payment using methods, again, such as a prepaid debit card, even like gift cards, or again, wire transfers for taxes owed without even receiving an official notice via, snail mail first from the IRS. Or maybe they're threatening to bring in law enforcement for arrest for not paying. They're demanding that taxes be paid without giving the opportunity to even question or appeal the amount owed. Tax officials, they don't use unsolicited email or text or social media to discuss your personal tax issues. And that's probably one of the biggest red flags, is if it's unsolicited in those fashions, that it should make you stop and think and do some research before engaging further. Also, this one sounds a little more, maybe well-known, if you will, is if they're asking for credit or debit card information over the phone, or, through, unsecured methods, of course.
So what do we do, right? So we see the red flag. What is it that we do? We just ignore it? Do we call somebody? Do we, what's our immediate, how do we protect ourselves, our loved ones? How do we, what do we do when we feel like we're seeing these flags?
Well, there's a couple of things you can do. And I think we need to empower people that it's okay to hit delete. It's okay to hang up or throw something in the trash. It's okay. I have a feeling if the IRS really needs to get in touch with you, they won't stop sending notifications, right?
They don't just send one.
They don't. It's not one and done.
Okay.
It's not like the lottery where, no, I'm just kidding.
Right.
But one of the things, especially for the professionals that are working with seniors, or, maybe it's you and somebody within your family, and you suspect that they're being victimized as a result of fraud or crime, you can actually file what we call an interdiction request with us, which will block that person from transacting with Western Union. Sometimes people don't really want to believe that they've fallen, to a victim to a scam, especially in the romance or the lottery type situations. They keep sending money and they're like, no, this person's real, the situation's real, and they keep sending. So an interdiction request is something that we offer, if you will. It can be done by a family member, a professional. It doesn't necessarily have to be law enforcement or, that third party, if you will. And again, just keep informed, stay protected. The more information that you have, the better you can actually shield yourself from these criminals. So number one, report the fraud, right? Stay up to date on those latest scams, and learn how to detect con artists with all of the available resources that are out there. Do your research. For some of the great things that we offer is we have a robust fraud section on our Western Union website. So it's wu.com/fraud awareness. You can take our fraud quiz and check your fraud smart, see how smart you are, fraud smart you are. You can check out our fraud videos. We have them on YouTube as well as our website. Just learning about the different scam types and maybe how they're associated and the scenarios that can happen with them. And just being, again, educated. We're also very active on Facebook and Twitter, providing some really lighthearted and creative content so that someone feels that they can really relate to any type of situation and not feel embarrassed or, be shamed, if you will, that, I have a question about fraud. Well, that's okay. And we want you to reach out. We want to empower you to, what we like to say is, best rule of thumb, never send money to somebody you have never met in person, period. And that includes, again, those online relationships. You think you know someone, but you really don't. And we take pride in saying, be fraud smart. That's kind of our hashtag tagline, if you will. Be fraud smart every day.
Well, I appreciate a good hashtag. So hashtag be fraud smart. I'll take it. I really appreciate you doing this with us. I'm excited that we're doing this over and over again, because I think that there's, as I said before, there's always somebody who's willing to take advantage of a situation. And I think that this is a really good opportunity for ASA to dive in with you and really kind of create this opportunity for our members and our viewers to get to know these little hints, right? That's the whole point of this, is just kind of learn enough so that you can protect, whether you are a professional caregiver, whether you are a family caregiver, whether you are yourself maybe potentially somebody who can be targeted. And I think that that's something that we need to realize, is that this is not, there is no one age that is targeted by a scammer. This is something that any age can be targeted in. And this is something that we all have to be aware of. We all need to be kind of put up our antenna and think about, and be smart about, be fraud smart about it. So, so I'm really excited for this. Keep an eye out. We will be putting these out for the next couple of months. You'll hear about these for those of you who are watching this. And thank you so much to you, Jessica, for joining us. Thank you for bringing us into this, and we will be back again to keep talking about this, because this doesn't go away. So thank you.
Absolutely. Word of mouth is key. Share with your friends and family. Absolutely.
Hey, you don't do a word of mouth. This is on social media. You can just share this.
There you go. Just click here.
That's right. Click the share button, everybody. And let's spread this around, because this is the time to get this information out. So let's actually do that. I love that idea. So have a great day, everybody. Enjoy, and we'll see you back here again for another ASA Live. I think we've got another one next week. So we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye, everybody.